The man was supposed to die of a terminal illness, but he opened his eyes again and came to another world. There are not only the 7 great demon kings who serve as masters here, but also many beauties around to serve his daily lives. During even the notorious demon king fencing, Yao is willing to double cultivate with him, but there are many dangers here. Countless people want his life, but he is a complete trash. His subordinates also want to kill him to restore their strength. In order to survive, he must be ruthless and strong enough to control the people around him and rule the world. All this began after he fell into a deep sleep for nearly half a year. Then this day the servant takes care of him as usual. The enforced second, he suddenly opened his eyes, scaring the maid beside him, and then she ran and shouted loudly that the Lord has woken up. The man struggled to prop up his body and looked at the strange environment around him, wondering if he was dead. It turned out that the man's name was Jing Fan, a talented cartoonist who had been creating for a long time. After a long time of intense work, he died young and found himself in this world. He struggled to put on his clothes, but found a graceful figure blocking the door. Jing Fan was stunned as if struck by lightning, because the person who came was the character in his comics, the demon king Feng Xinyang. Before he could think, Feng Xinyang threw herself into his arms. "Dian, you finally woke up. I have been waiting for you for half a year." Jing Fan shyly pushed her away. Feng Xinyang realized that she was impolite and hurriedly knelt down to ask for forgiveness, and then she was going to introduce him to the other people here, and first let him familiarize himself with the surrounding environment. Dian then stopped in a room filled with the smell of wine. "Ammon, the Lord woke up, come and pay a visit." Jing Fan was surprised when he saw this person. He is also the character in his comics, the vampire Amin. He walked forward slowly and knelt down to see the Lord. At this time, the dwarf Shuesan and the woodcutter Fanli also arrived after hearing the news, followed by Blind Bei and Zombie Yangqing. These people are all comic characters created by Jing Fan. All of them are frightening demon kings, but now they travel with him into this unknown world. At this time, Xinyang Feng raised her glass to express her congratulations to the Lord for waking up. At this time, Jing Fan interrupted inappropriately, saying that I have been in a coma for the past 6 months. How have you survived here? They originally thought this was another comic world created by Jing Fan. After that, Blind North explained that the first day he came to this world following the Lord, they have all become ordinary people with no ability, so they live here and wait for the Lord to wake up. Jing Fan didn't expect that the omnipotent demon kings would become ordinary people, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. He really didn't have the guts to control them in their heyday. Then he asked where the evil ball went. Because these people here are all created by other partners in Jing Fan's studio. He is just assisting from the side, but the evil ball is the only character he created independently. With him, I feel much at ease. Dian soon, Xinyang came forward with a box in her hand. Dian, the evil ball said that he has no physical body and does not need to eat and drink, so he sealed himself in this stone. They are obviously 7 top demon kings with explosive combat power. Dian, but they are willing to serve the young man and call him his master because they are all comic characters written by the young man. After the young man stayed up late and died, they also traveled to another world with the young man, and Jing Fan knew very well that these demon kings only respected him on the surface. Even the evil ball created by himself is unwilling to show up to meet him. After all, how could they really bow down to a mortal? But what he doesn't know is that these demon kings are now incapacitated and become ordinary people. Even the vampires can't heal the small wounds cut by wine bottles. Now they can only live in the inn and start a red wine business to support everyone. At this time, Jing Fan came to him. "Ammon, let's talk." Jing Fan asked if they had any useful information in the past 6 months. Unexpectedly, he didn't know it. He was only in charge of brewing. Inquiring about information is the job of the blind, and told Jing Fan directly that you don't need to be afraid of us, although we do look down on you, but we didn't abandon you when you were unconscious, let alone you awake. So we are willing to serve you as our Lord and will not abandon you. Now that the Lord is awake, you can ask the blind man. He knows more about this place. Now Jing Fan has figured it out. It seems that they all know that they are cartoon characters, so they recognize me as the Master Dian, but that's good news, thank you. Ammon, who hadn't gone far at this moment, felt a little strange. He suddenly discovered that the wound on his hand had healed miraculously. At this time, Shuesan in the restaurant was doing his best to tell the story. Dian last time, he said that Xiao Yan was called the Dozong strongman, and he learned the art of fighting qi and drawing horses. Dian the audience applauded. Zheng Fen looked at Shuesan on the stage, and it was hard to imagine that his appearance could be associated with the devil who likes to cut enemies in half. Feng Xinyang has opened many restaurants in the comics, and this place is probably the most shabby. Turning around, I found the blind man Bei at the door and asked him about the situation in this world. He explained that this should be an ordinary world. At least the people I met in the past 6 months were ordinary people. Zheng Fen looked at the tall horses riding on the pedestrians on the street. He doesn't think it's the normal world. I can see because I am blind. At night, Zheng Fen called everyone to have a meeting. Do you have any thoughts about the future? Feng Xinyang said that their thoughts are irrelevant. The Lord's thoughts are their thoughts. Then let me make it clear. Do you want to hang around and wait to die, or do something interesting? After hearing this, everyone showed a gratified smile. Although they have become ordinary people, how can the characters of the devil be willing to be mediocre? Everyone has died once. Rather than being mediocre, it is better to do something interesting. If the game is over, it will be the end of the game. As smart as Fan's mind, he immediately made arrangements for Shuesan to go to the county government to inquire about information. Fan Li observes if there is a suitable place to stay, and Xin Yang, you pick up the guests tonight. Liang Chen and Aming are responsible for Xin Yang's safety. At least don't let other people hurt Xin Yang. Let's make a big ticket tonight. Who would have thought that this dying young man was actually the demon lord who commanded the 7 great demon kings? He thought he could do whatever he wanted in another world, but he never thought that the demon kings had become ordinary people, and he had to worry about whether they might kill him. In order to find out the details of this world, Feng Xinyang was asked to play Badger game. After arranging everyone to perform their own tasks, Aming reported that the auctioneers bid for Xinyan. First night was too high. He might be the son of a big family, and he also brought guards with him. Zheng Fen said that if it is too difficult, they can give up. People with this status are probably not easy to deal with. Aming disagrees. The more difficult the target is, the higher the value of the target. Besides, Xinyang even took the money. Dian not long after that, Zheng Fen appeared in the restaurant with a jar of wine, and the zombie Liang Chen had been waiting here for a long time. Lord, you must play it by ear. Don't force yourself too much. We will take care of everything for you. After all, your safety cannot be compromised. Lord Zheng Fen is a little surprised. Is he caring about me? At the same time, the Xinyan in the room just gave a look, and the man was fascinated, looking at the new things. He doesn't know why she is so breathtaking. At this time, a guard outside the house was guarding the door. When he saw Zheng Fen approaching, he wanted to scold him. Liang Chen explained that it was the wine that the shopkeeper ordered. The guards no longer obstructed him, but only allowed Zheng Fen enter the house. When passing by the guards, Zheng Fen felt a strong sense of oppression emanating from his body, and he couldn't help breaking out in cold sweat. But at this moment, the room has already entered a fever pitch. Right now, the next second Zheng Fangao jumped up and smashed the wine jar on the guard. Dian the Xinyan in the house also strangled the man's neck with stockings. Dian Yaman, who was walking outside the window, heard the movement and immediately took out a sharp awl and stabbed it into his palm to taste the blood. It stimulated the potential. A burst of violent energy surged, and then burst into the room, and inserted the hairpin in his hand into the back of the man's cervical spine. After a scream, the man fell powerlessly to the ground and passed out. The wine jar outside the house shattered on the head of the guard, but the strength of the guard is astonishing, and he pulled out his long knife as if nothing happened. Seeing that Zheng Fan was about to die on the spot if he couldn't dodge, Yang Chen's eyes burst into red light. Then he took out the nails in his body and came behind the guard to kill him, but the guard immediately defended as if he had eyes behind him. He immediately turned around and pierced Liang Chen's body with a sword, but Liang Chen remained expressionless, and thrust the murder nail in his hand into the body of the guard. The guard was shocked in his heart. Could it be that he is a lunatic for this desperate way of fighting? Then he exploded with a strong vigor and knocked Liang Chen into the air. He looked into the room and suddenly felt bad. He rushed in to confirm the safety of the young master Dian, but Amin inside had been waiting for a long time to attack him. The guard immediately felt the murderous aura and stabbed out with a backhand sword. Amin was nailed to the wall forcibly, but his body trembled with excitement and then fell into madness. The moment he raised his head, 2 sharp teeth appeared, and the next second, he bit the guard's neck fiercely. The energy and blood in his body are constantly draining, his body is also dry and flattened quickly, and then he collapses powerlessly. On the other hand, Amin was not injured, and violent power emerged, showing the appearance of a demon king. They were originally the supreme 7 great demon kings, but now they have traveled to another world, turned into an ordinary person with no ability, but in the battle just now, the vampire Amin suddenly awakened part of his strength, which shocked everyone extremely. Xingyang hurried forward and asked Amin how he recovered. When she learned that the reason for the recovery was related to the Lord, she immediately opened her eyes widely and turned her head, staring at Jingfan with a hungry expression, thinking about how to get power from him. Jingfan was embarrassed by her stare, and said guiltily, "Xingyang, what are you doing?" Xingyang bowed her head and said that the hostages have been captured, so let the Lord go back to rest first. She winked at Jingfan again and said that other things should be left to them to do. When the screen changed, Yangchen stared at Amin in the box and asked if lying in the thing would help restore strength. Nope. It's purely a hobby. As a zombie, don't you understand? No, I prefer to sleep on the bed. At this time, the voice of the blind man came from behind him. It seems that my judgment was wrong in your accident. After hearing this, Amin looked indifferent. Such a challenging world is more exciting. After tonight, the preliminary exploration of this world is complete. I'm going to interrogate that hostage, but Amin interrupted him. Let the Lord personally interrogate and they were startled when they heard this. Is this a compliment to the Lord? Then the blind man stepped forward and said that the Lord would never do such a thing, and I will do it again. But Amin reminded him that he is the master after all. The process that should be followed is still to be followed. After hearing this, the blind man smiled intriguingly. It seems that this is the reason why you recovered your strength first. Yang Chen is a bit unclear, so tell me quickly what the blind man said. What's going on? Did you do something disgusting with the Lord in private? Amin let out a long sigh. I guess we regained our strength because we gained the trust of the Lord, because we are all created by him. There should be some kind of contract with him, and what we have to do is to gain his approval. At this moment, Zheng Fan, who is taking a bath, the voice of the blind man come from outside. My lord, do you want to interrogate the hostage yourself? Zheng Fan said no need to do these things. Then I will sort out the information after the interrogation and report it to you. Zheng Fan can't help but wonder why they are so attentive all of a sudden. After taking a bath, Zheng Fan was about to go to sleep, when a gloomy voice suddenly sounded behind him. Zheng Fan was hawked. Liang Qingqing is a zombie, even speaking with chills. What's the matter? Liang Qing didn't open his mouth, he just stared at him. Zheng Fan put his hand on his shoulder. Is the injury better? You can tell me anything, although I know I'm not good enough, at least I can still be a listener. The next second, Liang Qing actually put his hand on Zheng Fan's shoulder and cared about the Lord. Next time, please don't step forward. Zheng Fan was taken aback. What are you doing? Then said, haha, I got it. I'll go see how the interrogation is going, then turn around and leave. Only Liang Qing remained in the same position. After he reacted, he covered his face with his hands and squatted on the ground. It was too shameful, but in the next second a strong blood gathered in his injured chest.